For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
What do you got there, Russ?
Today I'm having a little Dunkin' Donuts Dunkachino, and again the blueberry muffin because we're off season, so blueberry muffin.
Blueberry muffin?
Yeah, it's good.
That's weird.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, it's traditional. I'm having the old butternut crunch myself.
Okay, fair enough.
And a good iced coffee with the mocha swirl. Oh my God!
What?
Who's that guy over there in the cloak?
Oh, he's got
that's a weird little outfit to be wearing in Dunkin'
He's got
Donuts.
that little patch with that little smirking face on the corner.
It's Curt Covert.
Hey, Curt,
come over here. Wait, put the dagger down. Put it. Okay. Come on, join us.
What? Do you follow me in here? What the hell?
No, what are you doing?
We did.
Yeah, well, okay. We may have. I heard. We heard you were working on a new game, Curt. And I figured if we followed you long enough, we'd reveal some portion of it.
Did there? That's Russ. I appreciate that.
No problem. See, that's how it's called a segue.
That was good. That was you totally fooled me on that one. I really thought you were giving me that one. So anyway, Curt. Ladies and gentlemen.
We are professional people.
Oh, that does not sound good. You all right there, Craig?
Wow, I think he lost a...
I'm good. Between Russ and this coffee, I think I'll be fine. Anyways, so here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe you're at Starbucks instead. Maybe
good.
Strong coffee.
That choking was me looking at my bill. So Curt is working on, or just finished working on, a new game with a new company, Angry Duck Games, and it's student bodies. You'll have to stay tuned to the main show next week to hear all about that awesomeness. But what we are going to tell you is that it's all about zombies. And in the process of doing what I can only imagine was an in-depth clinical analysis of the financial return on investment and so on and so forth, Curt did a whole bunch of research on zombies. Is basically what it amounts to. And so we thought it would be awesome if we talked about zombies in our culture today and where it's going, and have we jumped the undead shark yet? And Curt, why don't you begin by tell us a little bit about where zombies are today in our culture?
I'll do that, Craig.
Thank you, Curt.
Back to you, Craig.
Oh man, so it's crazy. It's no surprise to anyone how popular and how everywhere zombies are right now. But yeah, as I was thinking about creating a zombie game, I was wondering, well, should I? Because there's so many out there. Is it going to get lost in the mix? And happily, the game that I am coming out with is so different. Even retailers at the Gamma Trade Show are, the first eyebrow raise was replaced by, when they played it, they're like, oh, we're going to sell the crap out of this. No problem. But yeah, I did my due diligence and I started kind of looking at it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the zombie apocalypse, this trend that started, I don't know, 2009, it really started to take off, I'd say.
Oh, The Walking Dead's popularity probably started, yeah.
Well, it's generated, seriously, more than $5 billion in the U.S. economy.
That is a lot of...
$5 billion.
So that's a lot of money for dead guys.
Yes.
Right. So how do they...
It's insane.
Where do you go?
That'll buy a lot of brains.
How do you get metrics on zombies? Where do you go for zombie metrics, Curt?
You only have to just visit your computer.
Yeah,
it's just
Google,
so easy.
Google zombie revenue.
Quite honestly, stop by Google Trends.
Okay.
And not only can you see, the zombie trend as it grows from earlier than 2009 up to 2013, and then projecting into a forecast. The forecast for even past 15 into 16. there may be just a little dip here or there, but it's still at this gigantic plateau.
So we're not plateauing on zombies for at least another 2 years, is what you're telling us.
I'm saying that there is something about zombies and the different iterations and what people are doing with them that are keeping things fresh, compelling, and people coming to the genre. I mean, heck, Walking Dead, I think, did an amazing job. Continues to do an amazing job, so much so they're going to spin off the show. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really? In what way?
It's going to be another survivor group, not associated with Rick and his crew. There's just going to be another whole story of different survivors elsewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be it's easy to try to sell that to a network right now because if you get the numbers from the Hollywood Reporter, season 4 premiere of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It draws 161 million viewers with an 8.3 rating.
Right.
Now, understand, this is like it's bigger than Sunday Night Football.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
It's the episode is the biggest non-sports broadcast in cable history.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
So it is old. And I know, I also happen to know that when my daughters, I think I mentioned on the show once or twice before, but when my daughters started getting into My Little Pony heavily, which this will come back to zombies. Stick with me. when they started getting into,
always have to go to My Little Pony.
I do. So they wanted the comics. So the comics launched in beginning of 2013. My Little Ponies launched their comic books, and these became huge. It was funny because I went to the comic store and I'm like, I need to get the My Little Pony comic books, and they're like, oh, they're over there. And there's this whole wall. It's like a huge face out. I'm like, why are they so big? Well, she said, well, so you don't understand. My Little Pony is the second largest selling comic book in the country right after Walking Dead. So it goes Walking Dead, My Little Pony, and then way down there somewhere are all those superheroes we grew up with. It's like, so Walking Dead is like the number one comic book, bar none, by all these age-old, comic series. So it's really, it is blown by all the classics.
Yeah. And it kind of leaves you, one saying, well, eventually it's got to peak and it's got to jump the shark. It's going to end.
Right.
And the fact that it's been so resilient that it keeps on reinventing itself.
Exactly.
There's got to be something more to it. I mean, I think if the kind of zombies we're exposed to right now were back in the, original Walking Dead style, it'd be here to be gone. Right. But I think it really taps into something deeper than that in kind of the cultural psyche right now. Yeah. It's kind of interesting to think about what really brings people to it. So let me ask you guys. You guys are obviously the Walking Dead fans, yes?
I am. Absolutely.
My wife is. I've never watched the show, although I do enjoy zombie stories. I'm a big...
Interesting. So tell me why you've never seen it.
So I tried to watch it a couple times, and I found it to be, I don't know, it was a little dry for me. I don't know if that's...
Interesting.
I might just be weird there. It was too much of a... I might have jumped in the middle, and it was like I guess one of the seasons was a little slow. Not many zombies on the screen per frame or something, so I was less involved with it. So I just never really checked into it, per se.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, I think one of the things that may have turned you off is probably what is turning most people on. There is, in any given episode, there is plenty of zombie gore. They find all kinds of new ways to tear up zombies every episode. But in the end, it's really more a character study about the living. It's really more about, well, man, if this really happened, could I survive?
Right.
Do I have what it takes? How would it change me? When because you got two enemies right now in most zombie stories, right? Mm-hmm. The two enemies you have are the living dead themselves. Mm-hmm. They're just eating machines. They're mindless, just attacking everything. And then of course you've got humans, the survivors, who are desperate and laws break down, social mores break down, everything.
Yeah.
Culture breaks down. So now it's, you're fighting a two-fronted war.
Yeah, and interestingly about Walking Dead, if you talk to big fans of the comic book who have been having these discussions for years and years and years now, they'll tell you flat out that the Walking Dead is actually referring to the survivors, and that they're literally just they're going through these motions, and it's just a matter of time before each person is it passes on.
Yeah.
And to go also from business to education is apparently, I mean, I wouldn't be allowed to do it. I know I would try, but I would not be allowed to. There are zombie oriented classes, literature classes all over the country now.
Yeah.
And if you go to Amazon, there are zombie books that purport to be academic books. Or there's actually a book called Zombies in the Academy, Living Death in Higher Education. And it actually studies these courses that are, and of course these courses run the gamut of, professors I would have loved, like, I really like zombie stories, so I'm going to make up a class called The Living Dead in American Culture, but really it's just an excuse to read zombie stories. And then there's others, they're like, it is the metastasis of the zombie in our psyche and blah, blah, blah. And, and like whatever. But it's, there's no doubt that it's digging into our brains as a culture.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta tell you, I ran for the last 2 years in a 5K. Now, you've seen me, you've met me. I'm not a runner. Yeah, I'm a roller, maybe. but running is not my thing. But man, I did the Run for Your Lives 5K survival course, where zombies are on the course trying to hunt you down, both shamblers and sprinters, and you're running for your lives just trying to get through this obstacle course 5K, and it's a blast.
Right. Is it? Because we have it around here, and I've heard mixed reviews, so I haven't done it yet. But is it awesome?
Well, I tell you what, I can't speak to the one out near you.
Right. Yeah.
And there are a couple different companies, but the Run for Your Lives event that has happened on the East Coast, and I've been to the one in Boston and New York, were fabulous. It is thrilling. It's fun. The zombies are all dressed up and ghoulish, and the obstacles are cool. I mean, quite honestly, the finish line. I love this. The finish line. As you get down the course, you just splash down this into this gigantic sludge lake from this ski mountain coated with plastic sheeting, and came down out of this little lake, and you get to the finish line, which is this big barbed wire fence, and it says, "Warning: electric fence." I'm like, ah ha ha, funny, and so you have to crawl underneath it on your belly, and there's It's not just one thin thing. It's a length of fence you have to that's been bent back. You have to crawl underneath.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm halfway underneath, and I'm like, what? I think I hear something.
Oh, man.
Buzzing. It's a live fence.
Oh no, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
This girl next to me raises her head just too high, and it. Ow! Oh, crap!
That's awesome.
It was amazing. I mean.
So
it was just, through and through. It was so enjoyable. Again, it took zombies to get me to go and run a 5K, because I certainly wouldn't have done it for any other reason.
Well, I don't know if anybody's seen this.
Awesome.
Have you guys seen the zombie? So there's in Massachusetts, there's one of my coworkers went to this. It's kind of like during hayride season, so in the fall. But instead of a hayride, you get in the back of a tractor. Now, in the back of this tractor are a bunch of swivel-mounted paintball guns. And so you get 2 rows of passengers armed with paintball guns. You pay to ride in this thing, and then hordes of people dressed as zombies attempt to charge the truck. And you got to gun them down with paintball guns. This is phenomenal.
Oh,
so it's definitely a very pervasive theme, no doubt. You mentioned, Curt, and this is the zombie stories I like. You mentioned this idea that there's 2 enemies in the zombie, genre. There's the zombies, and then there's your fellow survivors who are not always on your side, right?
Right.
So the typical dystopian post, but what I'm liking is I just played another big zombie title that came out when the Xbox One was launched. Dead Rising 3 came out, which was the third in the series of this very high volume zombie game. But what's neat about this game was zombies were released in this city by the government and were sort of some kind of governmental experiment. Not gone wrong, though. Sort of the story's unfolding is that it's actually some kind of controlled thing going on. And so here you are trying to survive. There's fellow survivors who are like gang members and crazy trying to kill you too. There's, of course, all the zombies, and they've got sort of the different flavors of zombies in this one. You got some of the fast zombies, the slow zombies, the big fat zombies, all that. But then you've got the government coming in and messing with things too. So you've got a third villain in the mix, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I think
awesome.
again, there once I mean, heck, there was even a Star Wars book that came out with a zombie plague on one of the Star Wars ships.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there are so many ways to reinterpret and reskin the genre, and I think that's part of why it continues to to reinvent itself, because it is actually different when you get exposed to it. It's like a new wrinkle on it.
It's definitely an archetype. I also like the other component of zombie stories. I did not see World War Z the movie, but I did enjoy World War Z the book. And what I like about it
That
sometimes
was awesome.
is I do like. I like kind of hard to mid sci-fi. So what I mean by that is like in some of the shows like a Star Trek or something, they kind of look at it and say, well, what would you need roughly to be able to do kind of this kind of thing semi-realistically, right? So it's kind of cool when books or movies take the zombie thing and try to actually put some form of semi-believable, reality into the fact that how exactly would a zombie work? Or in the case of World War Z, how would humanity realistically combat the zombie apocalypse, right? And how would the pockets work, and what would happen to the military, and how would the big battles look? And I just thought that was a really cool approach to kind of saying, here's how it might work out if things like this really happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll say it again. I think the primal spot that it hits in people, and the reason why it is potentially more interesting than vampires or other similar types of genres is that you are not the if it's vampires, you want to be the vampire, right?
Right.
But you can't be because it's otherworldly. With zombies, you immediately get cast in a heroic role just by being yourself.
Oh, good point.
And you start thinking about, well, man, what would I do? How would I survive? What would I be willing to do? And those questions are both philosophical, they're moral, they're I think really engaging, even not just like a survivalist kind of scale. I mean, there's a whole book just on, survivalist tips that's been recast as surviving the zombie apocalypse. But, what things can you scavenge that are really worthwhile?
Right.
All of those things can be so compelling just to think about that it immediately immerses you in the genre.
That just reminded me too of the sort of the immersion of it. Zombies have become so big that auto manufacturers now at their car trade shows. Nicole's always going to these because she's an automotive journalist, and my wife goes to these things and she's taking pictures because invariably they'll have like the Kia, Walking Dead vehicle, and they'll have it all tricked out like it was from Walking Dead or that kind of thing. So it's a big deal now to have these cars all tricked out to be the post-apocalyptic zombie fighting machine, which is
Yep.
Well, there's that one company that has the car commercial during
The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to help you survive. You need to be a fighter. Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt that you have that giant car with the machine gun on top. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I gotta go. and then he steps on a styrofoam cooler. So I mean, it's really seriously all pervasive.
It really is.
Yeah.
So
now, will we jump the shark eventually? Yeah, I gotta believe at some point when people have exhausted, all the permutations, or people are just looking for something new. Yeah, we'll move on as a culture, but I think it's something we will eventually come back to as well, because I think there really truly is something kind of primal about it that just gets people engaged.
Oh, I agree.
Well, and I think you can. I mean, you can tweak it so often too that it can adapt a lot more easily than vampires or anything else. Because you go from the Shamblers, where everybody's really afraid, but it's all about the numbers. Then you've got 28 Days Later, where you got the rage zombies, where it's a totally different threat.
Right.
To what was it? Was it Warm Bodies? Is that the one where half the zombies are sort of still human, and that one guy falls in love, and it defeats the zombie virus inside him. So I mean, there's a lot of permutations to it as well, where it can adapt. It's kind of like a virus, kind of like a zombie virus.
I'll tell you what. I'll be honest. When I saw the trailer for Warm Bodies, I was like, "Oh, there it is."
You thought that was the jumping?
That's
the shark has been jumped.
This is where we're going to be done with it. Nope. Okay, sorry.
Well, I think
I had a similar thought myself. I haven't seen the movie, but I haven't heard many good things about it either. But I thought, oh yeah, there you go. That's got to be it.
Well, Curt, I think you're right on the cyclical thing. I think it's already cycled at least once, because wasn't
that's true.
Night of the Living Dead, which is probably the classics. How old is that movie? It's got to be like.
That goes back to the 60s.
Yeah, it's going to be like 50 years old now. So the fact that, and that, when it became so popular, spawned a bunch of bad and good zombie, spin-offs. So I think we've already did this once.
1968.
Yeah, did it once. Had a lot of crazy zombie scary movies probably in the late 60s, early 70s. It died out, and now it's back, right? So, I think it'll be back again.
And what's amazing, too, about it is... Even in toys and video games, even amongst moms who generally don't like shooters, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about blowing away zombies.
Nope.
You can blast with wild abandon robots and zombies all day long, and no one is gonna get bothered by it.
Yep. Although they've done it, and that might be the twist that Walking Dead kind of brought to it. And they, some of the video games do this too now, where you kind of have to put down your former spouse or loved one who is now a zombie.
Yeah, well, that's different.
So those moments of like, wait a minute, these were people once. It kind of, gets into your, which is neat because that originally that wasn't the thing. It was just, oh look, lots of nameless, no longer humanity things coming at me.
Zombie Nazis.
So putting a face on putting a face on the zombie, making it someone who you once knew, really definitely is probably the modern twist on it, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, very cool. Zombies are awesome, I got to say. I don't know what it is about them. I don't really, and that's the thing I can't explain. What I don't really know why they're awesome though. They just are.
Well, I think they tie directly into our feelings of mortality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very human threats and feelings of insecurity. And I think there are definite psychological reasons that that they stick around longer than all the other monster tropes, if you will. I mean, there's a reason that half your super successful Kickstarters always throw zombies in there somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Russ, but I'm super excited that my Chaos Ball
has zombies.
Full set has a zombie team.
Of course,
so there you go.
Of course, it does.
I could give or take the demons and the vampires, but I can't wait to get those prisoner zombies.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. And as you mentioned earlier, most long-running sci-fi shows have the obligatory zombie event at some point. I mean, it's just a constant. It's just a theme. You have to have a zombie once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, have we exhausted our zombie topic then? I think we might have run out of zombie topics.
I don't think you ever exhaust the zombie topic. I think you just have to.
It just keeps coming at you.
That's right.
Why don't we end on this note?
Give up.
So, Curt, I need, other than student bodies, which you would have to name out of loyalty to your own organization who is about to publish this game. But let's say, as of the end of 2013, what is your favorite zombie game that really captures the essence of what a zombie story is all about?
Or what you enjoy about the zombie genre.
Yes.
Well, let's see. There are aspects of a lot of the games that I liked. For example, even Last Night on Earth, I think there were elements of that game that I really enjoyed, but I didn't feel necessarily the fear. I'm trying to remember now some of the titles. What's the one that has the cardboard fire tower that got built in the center of the board?
Oh,
you know that one?
Geez, I'm totally forgetting now. But yes, I remember what you're saying, but I can't think of the name either.
Yeah,
cardboard fire tower.
Yeah, you actually put survivors up in the fire tower, and it can blow up. And anyway, it doesn't matter. One of the things about that game for fans who know what that is, there it was kind of fun because the game made you choose. If you got attacked, you had to choose one of your party essentially to sacrifice.
Yeah,
and I thought that was kind of an interesting twist on the mechanic. Zombicide has you being able to turn into a half zombie, but still a player in control of your faculties, which is an interesting twist.
Yeah.
That kind of instead of just being the survivor, you can be still a living player, but you have just enough of the infection that now you're badass.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all kinds of little aspects of different games that I think are
would
kind
this
of fun
be
to play
City,
with.
Would this be City of Horror?
That's the one.
Yep.
Yes. It looks quite intriguing.
Yeah.
It's got some cool 3D terrain too. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like my personal favorite is Zombicide only because of how it looks on the table. So there's always a moment in Zombicide where you look down and there's literally 40 to 50 plastic zombies just filling the street.
Yeah.
And to me that's like the quintessential, shot of the movie. You can like kind of get your head low and you just see the zombies coming and you have that moment of like, how the heck are we going to deal with all of that?
Yep.
And what's funny about the game is you can actually sort of you can actually get a good set of cards and write dice rolls and all of a sudden you can wipe out half the street of zombies, which is a pretty cool feeling. But it's not the most, realistic game. There's definitely some abstractions to the game that I know some people don't care for, but I just like the look of that many little plastic zombies, and I think it really captures the feel of the oh god, we're all going to die moment you get in those zombies.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that probably bugs me the most about the game is where you have to shoot a friendly if you shoot into a certain square.
Yes.
Why?
It's just, that's the biggest abstraction that most people don't like, and the only way I can rationalize it, and it is a rationalization, is simply that, hey, you know what, we're all bad shots, so we just don't dare shoot. If the rule had been you will not shoot into a square where there's a friendly, it would have been more palatable for people. But because it's you always hit your friend, it makes it, or maybe there should have been a die roll. It just makes it a little more weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Craig, what is your favorite zombie game?
I haven't played a lot of Zombicide, although I did enjoy the games that we played. As far as like a go-to zombie game from my collection, I would say the only one I really have is Last Night on Earth, and I really do enjoy that. That's been a go-to game for game nights that we've had off and on for years and years and years. So, and I mean, and that's a different feel too. I mean, that's much more, head to head, got good guys and bad players against each other, sort of total failure of my vocabulary. Don't judge me. But anyway, so yeah, it was good game. Yeah.
And credit where credit is due. Let's not forget classic zombies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Twilight Creations. I mean, quite honestly, they kind of spearheaded the whole genre, at least in the gaming category.
Yep.
So
right. Yep.
And we should also mention that although it's a very abstract game, one of the few games where all the players actually plays a zombie is, of course, Zombie Dice.
Yep.
Where the goal is to eat brains all game long, which is, and avoid shotguns. So that's all.
Yep.
That's a fun game too.
And gosh, I was just you know what? I'm blanking too. Nope, come back to me.
All right. Well,
there you go. There's three of us, so there's plenty of room to hide.
Plenty of zombie players to go around. Well, Curt, thanks so much for coming on. And hey, who knows? Maybe this time next year we'll all be naming Student Bodies as the number one.
That's right.
Zombie game that we enjoy to play. I can't wait to try it out. And you have to listen to the main show, folks, to learn all about
To
student
know
bodies.
why Russ now has a new secret first order of business at
PAX East. That's right. I know where I'm heading. So, Curt, thanks again for coming to the Lost Chapters. Really appreciate it. And don't forget when you leave there to tip the waitress and bring your donut.
You don't ever actually at these Dunkin' Donuts you're not supposed to tip.
What?
Yeah, the can right there it says
No tipping?
need a penny, take a penny, no tips is accepted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, try the bagels.
Oh, they're delicious.
Oh, bagels are good.
They are good.
Multigrain, really good, tasty.
All right.
All right, thank you, Curt.
Thanks, Curt.
All right.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, good seeing you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.